Ed, I'm getting a volume on. Let's go live.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Wise and Nerdy, the show hosted by dads who bring their unique blend of wit, wisdom, and nerdiness to the airwaves. From sharing hilarious anecdotes about their own experiences to giving advice on navigating the ups and downs of life, these two dads have got you covered. But that's not all. They're also obsessed with all things nerdy, from comic books and sci-fi movies to video and board games. So whether you're a fellow dad, a pop culture fanatic, or just in need of a good laugh, this is Wise and Nerdy. And now let's have some fun.
No fun. Joe's all right. Irritated the crap out of me. So let's get this party going so I don't have to turn this car around and take us all the way home, boys. Joe, you came back from the beach and you have been fiery as a hot tamale right now. And you know me, and you know when my text telling me no, it gets under my skin. Body. And yet you're sitting here just being. Who would have thought that Phil is the most calm one tonight? Welcome, Phil D. Keating.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Phillip D, the imaginary nomad himself. Not calm, very, very high strung right now. I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning. It is currently 8:30 p.m. and I've been doing nothing but drinking coffee and trying to get everything set for tomorrow morning when I wake up at 2 a.m. and fly to Atlanta.
I got to talk you all out of the show after this. Tonight's episode is brought to you by the letter Scotch and the number 8. And I will look up what the number 8 is in a minute. I didn't do that before show.
He
but
forgot
Joe,
what the number 8 is. He needs to watch some more Sesame Street. The count can help you with that.
So, Phil, didn't you say we could probably sign Steven as co-host?
Oh, wonderful.
As a producer one. Yeah. Okay, cool.
And right.
Hey, don't worry about it. Hey, you're back.
Boy.
Joe's back. Joe's back. It's okay. We're good. Joe's good for now. Don't worry. Contract negotiations coming up though, right? Right, Phil? Phil's the producer of the show.
That's true. I mean, he's going to try to take us to arbitration, but we have enough data to see that that's not going to happen.
I should have called in.
Yeah.
You did.
Oh, you did. That's why you're being replaced too, sir. He didn't even call in sick. Thursday night, he called in grandbaby. Tonight, he just can't be bothered. So that's Kurt for you, everybody. I've got to find my screen. You keep distracting me, Joe. Why are you distracting me? You just had a vacation.
For you to stop your yapping.
Why does the beach turn you into such a jerk face? Were you like this the whole time? Did your wife threaten a divorce? Because I can understand that.
No.
All right, number 8 is Wild Turkey Rare Breed, 116.8 bourbon.
Charles is a wild turkey.
And I'm drinking Pure Leaf Unsweetened Iced Tea. That's right, Southerners, who doesn't have a complex palate enough for this beautiful unsweetened tea. There is nothing that quenches my thirst quite like a Pure Leaf. And the number 12.
Why?
I guess. I don't know.
Why? Yeah. Okay. Kelsey, why does the beach turn Joe into the jerk face? That's the question of the week.
It's the question of the week.
Because he has been pokey, just lighting tampons on fire, is all I'm saying. And it drives me crazy. So
well then.
Am I going to have to be the anchor of this episode?
She's on my team. She's on my team.
I do hate sand.
It's coarse and gets everywhere.
Anakin. Yep. I am like Anakin. I hate sand.
Well, then why do you go to the beach, guy?
Because the rest of my family wants to go to the beach.
Okay, so let me ask you a real question. Because what my father did was he would always take us to the shore as well, but he would stay at the hotel pool as everybody else goes down to the beach, right? Do you do the same thing?
No, my wife needs help out there. But what I do, the compromise is I
just
stay on
like a good Baptist.
I stay on the shore and I read a book, and then I'll go into the water a bit with the kids for, an hour or two. But when I come out of the water, I am not sticking around in the sand. I am going back to the beach house.
Is it a good book?
So the one I read this year was Fight or Flight. Or Fight and Flight It's
Well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You either have one or one
It's
or
the
the
Mormon
other.
version of Snakes on a Plane. No. It's the Mormon
No,
version of
no.
Snakes on a Plane. It's a fight.
It's a book in a series called Magic 2.0 by Scott Meyer, where the main character finds a file on a database that he'd hacked into, and he figures out that by altering stuff in the file, it makes stuff happen in real life. So
Okay, so it's a little bit like Stranger Than Fiction, almost. If you ever read or saw that movie,
I haven't, but
it's about Stranger Than Fiction was written by the same person who did like Fever Pitch or like High Fidelity, where this author was writing a book and it was happening to a guy in real life, and they happened to have a meetup, and she realizes like this is the guy that I'm writing about, and everything that she writes ends up happening to him in his life.
Don't they have a storyline like that in Supernatural, Charles, where the guy is writing their adventures as books?
God is basically. Well, Chuck, who turns out to be God, is writing their adventures as books. Yeah.
Is that his
but this is
real name? Is that his given name?
According to
the almighty eye in the sky, Chuck.
Yeah. So thanks for derailing the show, Phil.
That sounds like something straight out of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
It's the question
of the question.
All right. So the real question of the week, Joe, you brought this. You answer it. For anybody watching the video, it's pre-Dragon Con. So all my lights are packed up. My good camera's packed up. Everything's packed up except for Joe. Joe is not packed yet. But that's not the question. The question is, what is the weirdest issue you've had with something you've owned? Besides tonight, because you're being an issue for me, sir.
Oh, man. So a couple of episodes ago, or maybe last episode that I was on, we talked about when we proposed to our spouses. And during that, I talked about a car that I had gotten, and I gave the key to my wife before we were actually even officially engaged. My then girlfriend.
Oh yeah, no, she was very mad at you telling that story. I felt the wrath in the chat.
Well, that particular car had so many weird issues. For instance, the gas gauge, it was not ever accurate. So we just had to keep track of about how many hours we had driven, and then estimate when it needed to be filled up. Like, after driving for about 3 hours, it would just suddenly bounce to full to empty, to full to empty, to full to empty. And so we were like, okay, after approximately 4 hours of driving, we need to fill this up. And so that's was a relatively minor issue compared to some of the other things. All of the motors basically kaput on the automatic windows, so they didn't roll down. Well, at least the ones that you used more frequently. So the passenger side and the two front windows. So there's one time when I got stopped by a cop and I rolled down the back window to talk to the cop. And the cop's like, "Can you roll down your window?" I'm like, "I really can't." He's like, "Oh." And it was actually, he pulled me over to give me a warning because one of my taillights was out, just another issue. That same car, while we were driving, after we got married, while we were driving cross country, we spent, 4 or 5 days driving cross country. It suddenly decided that the blinker sound, it just was going to play that all the time.
You got
the blinkers weren't on. We checked. It just tick, 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 tick all the time. It was like Chinese water torture without the water.
Real quick, can I just ask a quick dad question?
Yeah.
Did you take the fuse out for the blinkers?
I should have, but I didn't.
Okay, so you didn't. All right.
And then, the blinker was the worst. So then we took it to like a mom and pop shop and said, "Hey, can you fix this blinker issue?" And they fixed it, but when we got it back, the horn no longer worked. And so
until you put it in reverse, it would play El Cucaracho.
So it was just issue after issue after issue with this car. Like, none of it was how it ran. It was just all electrical stuff, and it was just like,
Well, What year? Like, was this a car from the 80s, from the 90s?
It was I want to say it was a 96 Pontiac Grand Am.
And you were driving it in like the late 2000s?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like 2009.
Yeah.
So it was, like 13 years old or so.
Which back then is not that much for a car because they were built a lot stronger back then.
You'd hope.
His wasn't.
His wasn't. Because my first
man.
car that I had was a 1986 Chevy Lumina. She was
This is not
literally
about first cars. It's about weird.
well, I
stuff
know. But like I used to hit everything with it, right? Mailboxes, street signs, it would run perfectly
Bird.
fine, dude.
The
Go
little
Bird.
orphans down the street.
Oh
Everything.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're there for. I mean,
You gotta take out the competition, or he'll never get adopted.
Thanos did nothing wrong. So, what happened was I remember I hit a speed bump too hard once, and it broke the lock on the steering column. So, like, you know how like you can adjust your steering wheel up and down, right? So when I broke that, right, there was no lock in place, so I had a steering wheel that would be like jumping up and down, bouncing up and down the whole time. So I had to train myself to push pressure, like white knuckle it for the time that I drove it, which was great. My buddy had an old Lincoln one time and we were stuck in traffic and somebody cut him off. So he was angry and he punched his steering wheel as hard as he could.
Airbagged?
Right? Not airbags.
Okay.
The horn got stuck.
Oh,
Right?
no.
And so we're still about 45 minutes away from his house. And he's just
Lord.
driving through the towns and cities that we live in to get home with the horn blaring the entire time we were there. Oh, it was great.
Oh, what's that There's a comedian that has a skit about that.
His name is Phil. He just did it.
Brian Regan. It was Brian Regan.
Really?
His horn, according to his skit, his horn got stuck, and so he rolled down his window and was like yelling, "Go my favorite sports team! Beat them soundly in the skirmish!" Trying to, for the skit, pretending like he was listening to sports radio.
My weirdest issue that I never can get my hand, like I'm a tech-centric guy. I know how to work things out, man. Printers are the one thing that will get my blood pressure so high that I now fully as an adult understand the Office Space scene when they take it out to the field and beat it with a bat. And we're talking, so like at work, no joke, at work, there's about 5 or 6 printers. Some of them are hardline, some of them are Wi-Fi. It's always the hardline computers that are plugged directly into a USB that will not show up. They will not activate. I can see it's turned on, right? I can even hit the button to do a test print and it prints out everything. But when I want to add it to the actual computer in the system, ghost.
Not detected.
Right? And at that point, they're not even like Wi-Fi'd, so I can't find the IP address to add it manually. There's nothing I can do, right? And it's just, that is the bane of my existence, is trying to find these magical printers that only work when they want to. And then 2 weeks down the road, I'll come in, it works perfectly fine. Nobody touches it. I'm the IT person. I didn't fix anything. It just works, right? So that's the only thing that I can really think about that will cause me great, like I'm not even at work right now and I'm getting frustrated just thinking about these printers, man. Like they mock me constantly. Like normal people have like nightmares about getting chased by monsters or like an emergency in the house. Not me, man. It's just 404 errors on these gosh darn printers just keeping me up at night, man. I can't do it. Hate it.
I mean, I've definitely had my share of tech issues, and even tonight, like StreamYard, it's the weirdest issue. I can go all week long, be awesome together. I can hang out with Phil on a Saturday night, not having any issues. We can do games. My kids can stream, no issues. We get on to Wise and Nerdy, and I'm spouting out numbers. This is why Joe aggravated me a lot, because he knows the numbers, and he's not here to support. He was here to throw sand in my face. He brought it back from the beach just for my face. And I'm like, Why? Why is this one thing give me, oh, you don't have a great signal, and everything else is saying I do? And that drives me crazy. And then to stick with your car theme, Joe, I don't know what your model it was. It was a Taurus, Ford Taurus. Before I was going to Dragon Con, actually, so it was the 100th episode of Bear Calling, because people were coming in to the party, and my car died. And I don't remember if it was the dead car and then afterwards I got this Ford Taurus, or if it's the Ford Taurus died and then after the party I went and got whatever my next car was. But it was a repo, or not repo, it was a impounded Ford Taurus, where apparently drug dealers had it, because the big C-Mobile. But I mean, they had no trunk lock, because they'd punched it out to search the trunk, and it's all torn up on the inside for the most part. Big wide floors, beat all the crap, right? Had some bullet holes in the doors. Did you know on Ford they have a thing called a pigtail right behind the little switch that turns your lights on and off, right? And that little pigtail runs the lights on your dashboard and your tail lights. So I knew if my dashboard lights went out at night, I didn't have any tail lights, and I have to smack it and hit it because it was on back order to get the pigtail or whatever. And I got pulled over one night, and told the cop this, and I was even more frustrated because I'd taken my wallet out at work to buy something for my wife or do something, and I put it in my backpack. It's in my pocket, so when he came to my window, which did roll down, Joe, I mean, I still did that, but when it came to my window, I thought it was like, it's my backpack. He's like, I can get out. Now I'm 3 times the size, so as I'm keep coming out of this car, he takes a few extra steps backwards. Can't find it in my backpack, and he can tell I'm getting frustrated. And he's like, look, man, just give me your social or whatever. And he went and ran it. And as he's in his car running my social or whatever, I'm taking my big size 13 boot and kicking the crap out of this dashboard, because I'm just over it. I'm over all the crap with it. Lights come on. I just cross my arms like a little kid and sit down on the trunk. And it took him an extra 5 minutes to come back from his car, because he was laughing so hard. I'm sure that video got passed around the precinct, and he told me about it, and we got it fixed. But it's so weird. Why would you put a pigtail's just basically a little split, one little split that turns my lights on and off, but also runs the dashboard and the tail lights? I don't understand.
Just to frustrate you. They made it just for you.
That's what your daddy did. He made you for me, though, Joe. Kelsey, you need to take this fool on a date night, no kids, weekend long, hotel room. Get him. He is bad dad, everything tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Roll that dice.
Thank you for being here, Phil.
Yeah, of course. Somebody has to be the anchor here.
Council of Dads.
You got it wrong. It's the Parliament of Papa.
Yeah, well, we don't have those sound bites. We're not going to have that sound bite for like a year.
Yeah, we got to get the logo knocked out first. I did talk to Diva a little bit. It's like, look, after Dragon Con, we got to get serious about the new logo, and then we'll get the new openings, everything done. So I brought this one to the table. I saw a news story this morning, and I sent it over to Joe, not to Phil. I sent it over to Joe, and so I want to talk about this tonight. But we know about One Piece, right? There's running joke is like there's 1,200 episodes.
One Piece of what?
One Piece is an anime that adults watch, Phil. There's a live action version on Netflix too, with
is that like
cool actor in it.
Is that like the pony show that all those guys like?
Yes, it's
Charles
made
is
by
a
the red
brony.
hat guy that you like, Wes Masterston or whatever.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Kojo Anderson.
Continue, children.
We need some fans to
I'll be back in 15 minutes, y'all.
draw Charles as a My Little Pony character.
Nope, we're good.
Oh, you know what? Well, real quick, Joe. At Dragon Con, there's an artist alley, and everybody does commissions. So we do
I just need to
Patreon
take a
money
picture
here, right?
of Charles and go have them draw it for me.
Yeah,
The show is not paying for that. I got a 50% vote. The show is not paying for that. So what's the big holdup on One Piece is it's like 1,200 episodes. It's an insane amount of episodes, right? And yeah, you can watch the live action TV show. It wasn't really for me, but apparently pacing is bad. And Phil, I think you'd be interested in this topic here. Netflix is actually doing the One Piece, which is reshooting, re-recording, and Joe, I'm sure you can stop it, random kid. No, Joe, I'm sure you can actually fill in some details here, but it is redoing the anime, fixing some pacing, but it's not like rebooting it, right? It's not like starting over as the One Piece, is it?
Well,
I don't know.
So here's the thing. This is not the first time that they've done this, because there was such a strong negative response against the season 4 of Arrested Development that they made, because they couldn't get the whole cast there together at once. So they did a lot of over-the-shoulder shots, right, with fill-in people, and it kind of flopped pretty hard. So what they did was, in about a year after it came out, they came in and reshot a lot of things with the full team there, and then just re-released it as the same show under the same season. And from what I hear, it's fixed now, but I just can't go back to it.
Well, and this is similar because it's same concept, but different in the fact that these are already been done. They've been done for a long time, and they don't want new fans to get turned off by the issues that, I mean, it's overwhelming. 1,200 plus episodes. I keep changing the number. I know it's over 1,000. What, Joe?
So this isn't the first time that they've redone an anime. Granted, none have been to this scale where there's thousands of episodes, or they're over 1,000 episodes, because they're not thousands. They haven't hit that mark. For instance, Hunter x Hunter, they redid that series, and they're talking about, it's been years, I think over a decade since.
You mean Spy Hunter, where you drive the car and you drop the oil behind you?
No.
Hunter 13.
Hunter x Hunter, they did a reboot, and from everything I've heard, I've never actually watched the original. I've only watched the remake, and I've watched it a couple of times. From everything I've heard, people love the remake. Fullmetal Alchemist, they redid it. Granted, the first one, Fullmetal Alchemist, they went off and did their own thing because they caught up to the source material and wanted to keep going. So they made up their own ending. Whereas Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, again, is considered the superior of the two, and it was more true to the source material because by that time it had been redone. And what's nice about that one is they got a lot of the original voice actors to come back for it. I don't know if they did that with Hunter x Hunter. This
is kind of a reboot. The news story that it came across TikTok, of course, is somebody talking about it, but it made it sound more like a re-edit than a reboot. But reading this little blip from Collider, they're calling it a remake, and the remake aims to be different from the original anime and will be released on Netflix. But it is done by Wit Studio and will cover the adventures captured in Oda's original manga from the very beginning. So I guess it is a remake, even though it was originally kind of poised as not. And I'm like, I wonder what other shows, and if it should be done. Should we take, how often have we liked, I love Quantum Leap. I've tried to go back and watch the originals. The pacing is very of its time. A little bit slow. It could be punchier. It could be a little bit, you could cut out 5 minutes of each episode and make it a little bit better. But should they, would I watch an original Quantum Leap as it was filmed, just edited and maybe remastered?
Well, here's the deal. Like, oh gosh, it's, I wonder if they're doing this now because, like I said, it's not the first time that they've done this, that they're kind of taking a book out of gaming companies' playbook, right? Or play out of their playbook where it's like, hey, look, let's just release it and fix it later, right? Let's just get it out the door. It's already late. It's already over budget. It's already been delayed. Let's just get it out there. Let's take our licks and then we can fix it, over the year to get it right. Because I hate, there's a meme, right? I don't watch anime, but there's always that meme that, like, as soon as Netflix gets a hold of the IP for live action, it's going to be bad, right? So, like, why are they not using the money and the budget that they have for these reshoots and just hiring somebody on set that knows the material so you don't have to do this, right? And have to have these reshots, right? Have somebody from the original writing team be consultant on your program so that you know that the writing is up to snuff, or geez, even have, I don't know, test markets of the actual fans that consume the IP and see what they think about the product that will be consumed by them.
Well, I think a lot of that, especially when it comes to TV shows, boils down to how they're produced, because a lot of times they're not even done writing the season until they're already on it. And which is a shame. I know that, like, for instance, I've been listening to a lot of stuff from Brandon Sanderson lately, and he talked about the Wheel of Time series, because he saw he had very little influence, to be honest, but he did have some discussions and see what was going on behind the scenes. And he talked about how during that process, it really opened up his eyes, how a lot of times the script for the next episode wasn't even ready while they were shooting the previous episode. And so
that's fairly standard TV making.
It is. And that's why a lot of TV has
Not
issues,
great.
in my opinion. Whereas you can definitely tell where they've actually plotted it out and know where things are going to go. And it makes for a much better cohesive story. Like, for instance, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Those original three seasons, they knew exactly where they wanted that to go. Whereas The Legend of Korra, while it's still pretty good, they didn't know if they were going to get how many seasons they were going to get. And so they wrote it season by season, and it's very evident that it's not as cohesive of a story as the original series. So, yeah.
Lost, the TV show, right? It was
should have ended after
it
one season.
Had a very
that's Heroes.
It actually should have ended. Yeah, you're actually. I'm with Phil. That's the Heroes suffered from the writer's strike, but Lost had a very specific arc in mind. That was 3 seasons, and after the first season went gangbusters, the money men started saying, no, we got to stretch it out. And it suffered. It went all over the place, and it did all right. I still watched. I still enjoyed some of what they did, but there's something to be said
the first
about
2 seasons. So,
well, there's a show that you won't like, Joe, but Phil, you would love, called Fleabag. And I cannot remember the name of the actress, the comedic actress who does it. Who wrote it and starred in it. She was in the newest Indiana Jones as the female lead. I'm not saying the newest Indiana Jones was good. She's good. But she did 2 seasons of it, and that was it, because the story was done. And it was critically acclaimed and awarded almost every step of the way. And it's because she basically knew what she wanted to do, got somebody to believe in her and say, okay, we'll just do that. Helps that it's UK TV and not US TV, because US TV would be like, we have to have money, throw more money at it.
Well, and that's also part of the issue, and that's why projects are getting rushed out, because every streaming service is wanting to have the next hot thing and just pumping out literally the next hot thing, but in the different direction, right? So it's just like, so sure. So I don't know, man, like, because you're seeing, even Disney, they're pumping out a lot of Star Wars and Marvel TV shows, right? And like, people are like, no, we're good. We kind of need a break. And they keep coming out with them, and they keep getting canceled after a few seasons. So it's just like, I was hoping that maybe the writers' strike and actor strike that we just had, and maybe COVID would kind of slow everything back down. But it seems like it's just ramping right back up again. So, man, I don't know. And to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you, like, other than Fallout, which is already a written IP, like, I couldn't tell you another show that I've actually watched recently that I've been like, yeah, that was dope. That was great.
Would Last of Us count as recent?
Didn't watch it. I don't have HBO.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But that is that to me, that was, I didn't watch Fallout, even though I do have Amazon. I think it's what it's on.
I think it's on Prime.
It's on Prime.
Yeah. I have access to that, but yeah, Last of Us is probably one of the last great.
And Fallout works because you're writing a story in a universe, right? You're not following a storyline that's already been gone through.
Which
right?
is why I think the Mandalorian worked until it got to season 2
Until
and
it
3
didn't.
Until it got to season 2. I
until
didn't
they
enjoy
start
season
adding
2.
in Yoda and Luke Skywalker. Let's get that crap out of my house. We had a good story. Why?
I don't know.
I mean, it felt like somebody said, let's make Star Wars great again, and it went really bad.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens with that slogan.
Yeah.
Roll that dice.
There are definitely times when remakes, reboots I enjoy, and there's tons of times when I'm like, just leave it alone or get somebody who loves the property. What you got, Joe?
What are you nerding about?
Little Jebediah. I'm still going to call you out for not speaking clearly, dude. Come on. You're at least 3. You should be able to speak eloquently at this point, sir. I'm disappointed in you. So, Phil, what are you nerding out about right now?
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm playing Warcraft again.
I know. You
World
thought I didn't catch that the other day,
or-
but I caught it.
I'm playing a lot of
He got-
Warcraft, y'all.
His old dealer
the
came by
new
the house.
expansion. The new expansion came out of the World of Warcraft, The War Within. Chris Metzen is back at Blizzard writing stories. So after a couple year break and a couple meetings in the basement of churches, I am back on the sauce, brothers. Hear my good word. It's good. But I'm also not letting it dominate my life, right? It came out a few days before I'm leaving for DragonCon, which allows me not a lot of time to play Warcraft. I mean, I did play from 10 p.m. until about 1 a.m. last night, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about, I don't have a lot of time to play because I've got to be packing. I got to get merch set. I got to print signs. I got to make sure Chonky has enough Clonopin. I got to make sure all these pieces are coming together, right? So the little time that I have played, I've really enjoyed it so far. The improvements to the gameplay, because I do play alone, right? I don't have a guild anymore. I don't have friends that still play. It's just me. They've made a lot of upgrades for solo players. So if I want to run a dungeon, there's a way to run AI dungeons, and they'll just fill out your party with the pieces that are missing, which has been great for me. The UI updates on like the quest, they can now separate like this is your main quest for the main storyline, and then everything else is your side quest. So like if you want to just focus on side quests, you follow that one symbol. If you want to push the story forward, just focus on that. And I've just had a lot of fun with it. And I don't feel like it's at that point yet where, you know, I'm calling in sick from DragonCon or work because I've been up for 12 hours playing. I just also, I don't have that lifestyle anymore, right? I got an 8-year-old kid. I've got a job. I got a mortgage. I got car payments. But I am playing. I am having a lot of fun with it. And I'm excited to see where the story goes. Normally there's like a 5-year gap between expansions. And these next 3 games should be out every year, 1, 2, 3, and just get this huge storyline that they've been building at for 20 years done. And then start up with something new, hopefully. So what is old is new again, and your boy's back in the realms.
I love how all the ads for it are targeted to you.
Oh, yeah.
Every guy and lady in the ad, it's all about return to Warcraft, and it's all 40 plus adults in these ads. It's not kids.
Oh, no.
It's all you.
But it always has been. Like Blizzard, like an MMO, if my son doesn't want to play an MMO. Like he wants to play Fortnite and Roblox, right?
That's okay. If he,
So they're marketing.
Minecraft, that's basically a MMO light.
But it isn't. Like these long out storylines, 20 years of lore, books, movies, comics, right? That's too much. I just want to get a victory royale, the child says. So like they know what they're doing, right? They're marketing to us old people that played it in the 2004 to 2009 time period to come back home. Just come back to Azeroth, you know?
Give us your credit card information again, please.
And then that's another thing is that I'm not currently paying for my play time because I have free WoW time. So like that's a big also disclaimer that I'm not paying for it. So like I'm not financially tied to this. You know, the first taste is free.
Free.
Let's bring it in and just talk about it real quiet. Don't let them know.
If y'all need a refer a friend code, I got you. Because like I'll get a mount for it. You know, just come.
I mean,
30
if it gets you something, I have to
30-day
send money,
free
I'll do that.
trial. Come on, baby. You know.
I tried World of Warcraft for maybe about half an hour.
Same.
But I didn't quit because I didn't like it. I quit because I knew I would like it too much. And I could not afford those monthly payments to keep playing. And so I was like, nope. This poor college student can't afford this.
Agreed. And I did pay my $15 a month every month for a very long time. But in my own point of view, right, if I was paying my $15 a month, it's no different than paying Game Pass, right? Or any other gaming subscription. I just have my focus on one game that I want to play, right?
Fair.
So, you know, I don't care to have a plethora of games I'm not going to play on Game Pass. Like, even if I was paying for Game Pass, there's 80% of that catalog I don't want to play, right? So I'm playing for what I want. People make fun of me for it. All my friends are busting my chops about it. But you know what? I'm happy doing it.
Well, there you go.
Of course.
Right? That's what all junkies say.
Yeah. You feel like
you know, I haven't showered in 4 days. You can see my shirt's all gross and stained, but I'm happy.
Can you fix that before Dragon Con though?
Well, yeah, because my lap. Well, I hear you go to cons and you're not supposed to, right? It's like a competition who could go the longest without showering or wearing deodorant. I've never been to Dragon Con. I'm just taking guesses here.
Never been
But here's another good thing is that I also, like with Dragon Con here, I get to step away for a week, right? And like, so my entire guild will be, you know, pushing max content and late game stuff. And that's okay with me. I don't want to raid. I don't want to do dungeons. I want to go at it at my own pace, do my little side quests and be cool with it. So I am. And find your own joy. I have, man. I really have. And it feels good to see all these old characters that, you know, they have aged appropriately with the time that the game's been out. So it's like seeing all these old friends just a lot older and a lot more stressed. And they're not scared to kill off characters that have been around for about 30 to 40 years, even from Orcs versus Humans, Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3. So like it's been good. And Chris Metzen even said like there has to be a reason that a character dies and there has to be weight behind it, right? We don't want to just kill off characters for the heck of it. We're not Marvel. Like, we've built these characters for 20 some years. There needs to be some weight when we actually lose them. And we lost a pretty big name. And it's like, oh, geez, he's not going to be around because he was our main guy that's around. So now what are they going to do? So
this show is an intervention. So what's really happening, he's just drank way too much of that mushroom tea, and he's just seeing his reflection in a dark screen, and it's, oh, my old friends, look at that. The character that died off is his dad, right? So, I mean, this is an intervention, buddy. You're not actually turning on the computer.
None of you are real. You're not real people.
I'm just saying. It just never grabbed me. Like I said,
I was so sad when Charles died in the third act, man. But you know what? We'll get through it.
He's gone.
Joe, what are you nerding out about?
Yeah.
Oh man! So this past week, in addition to the Magic 2.0 book that I read, I also finished the entire solo leveling manhwa, and. Charles is just like, oh, you
because
thought I was
now you're ahead,
the
and that's just BS.
Yeah, so I finished.
Is it
the manhwa?
Yes,
and it was very good. There were some parts that were like, okay, you're stretching a little bit here. It's a little confusing, but I think that's more the medium than it was the actual concepts behind it. I suspect that if they get that far in the anime, that it'll flow a lot better. Because at least so far with what they did with season 1 compared to the manhwa, they did make some changes, and I actually like some of the changes that they did. So yeah, like, do you mind if I give you a for instance, Charles? Because you're probably not going to read it.
Oh, I'm not, but they might actually cover it in the anime. And
No,
you
it's
never
not. It's not
give
possible to cover it in the
ahead.
anime. The part that I'm talking about. So you know the scene with the prisoners, where the prisoners go into the dungeon with him, and that other character kills the prisoners.
Yes.
He doesn't kill all the prisoners in the series. He only thinks he did, and one of them's still alive. And Jinwoo drags the prisoner to the boss and tosses him to the boss and says, "Yeah, you haven't paid for your crimes," basically, and has the boss kill the prisoner. And so they took that completely out of the anime, and I think it was a bit much for his character, how they were characterizing him. And so I definitely understand why they would pull that out. But yeah, so that's just a for instance for one relatively small change. And they also, in the anime, they did a lot more foreshadowing than the manhwa did on stuff to come. And I think they played that really, really well. And they actually added a few scenes that weren't in the manhwa that I think they executed quite well as well. So I really like the adaptation, and that's what I watched first. And the manhwa was very good. Very,
Can
very
you
good.
say manhwa one more time?
Manhwa.
Thank you.
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah,
Probably like manhwa, main way. I don't know. The Korean manga.
I'm trying to look it up.
MANWA.
That's what I spelled. But
manhwa.
It changed it to manga, and then, okay, yeah, I'm trying to see.
Manhwa.
Right?
I said manhwa.
How do you say wawa?
Manhwa.
Manhwa. Man, I need to go to a Wawa and get myself a hoagie.
Manhwa.
Charles, you're just making me jealous because you're getting a Wawa near you pretty soon, aren't you? Or
I'm getting a Wawa near me. I moved out to Gettysburg to get away from Wawas.
To get away from Wawas? You don't like Wawa?
Oh, I love them, brother. Love them too much. I can't get out of a Wawa without spending $35 to $40. Like, that's how much I love Wawas. Like, we'll get a large hoagie, we'll get a sweet peach tea, we'll get a bag of chips, we'll get a stuffed pretzel, we'll get all of this, right? I love it. And so, like, every night I was just like racking up the empty calories and the expensive Wawa. And I was like, you know what? We gotta go. We gotta move. I gotta move away. And now they're opening it up. It's gonna be 20 minutes down the road. Can't wait.
I like
Can't
Wawa.
wait. Love it.
Oh, random tangent. Have either of you seen the trailer for the War of the Rohirrim?
No.
Oh man. So I don't know if you even know what it is. It's an anime, Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson is involved. It takes place 200 years before The Hobbit. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I showed it to my in-laws who love Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, would you consider watching this? I know it's animated. They don't really do animated stuff. They're like, nope, I would just watch Lord of the Rings. But they said it does look good though. But I wouldn't watch it. Who's
putting it out?
I'm not sure, but I know Peter Jackson's involved, and the actress
Eli Roth,
the actress that plays Eowyn is in it. She's a narrator. Basically, she's narrating the past events for it. So, but yeah, the War of the Rohirrim.
Oh, it's a film. It's not. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's coming out to theaters in December.
And for it. No, I'm sorry. I thought it was on a streaming service.
No. Yeah, no, it's coming out to theater in December.
I don't know what it is. I lump Lord of the Rings and that fandom in with Star Wars fandom. It's just generic rehash to me, and I just don't care. You can make it look pretty, but it doesn't do anything.
So when you say that, do you mean like just the original trilogy is all that you should be consuming and forget everything else?
No, even if you go back and look,
he doesn't even like the original trilogy.
Holes.
Wow.
I mean, I grew up with them. If I'm gonna watch Star Wars, it will be that.
Wow.
I mean, it's a movie, but it's a 3-part movie about walking. I got you. Yeah, I hear you.
What they've done with both of the properties is Oh, I don't know. It feels like nostalgia is overhyping.
But hold on,
reality.
real quick, brother, real quick. You haven't treated yourself to an extended version, sit down to a back 12-hour rock block.
Oh, if it's the extended version, it's longer than that.
You don't even know what you're missing.
I do. It's a lot of walking and songs that don't mean anything.
No. Hold on. Tom Bombadil's not in the movies, brother.
Anyone who says that it's just a lot of walking, that just shows me that you know nothing.
I read the
Charles,
book.
I can look at you and tell that cardio is not your thing, but I would say, sit
all right,
down,
Joe. Thank you for fat shaming me coming back from the beach.
Take yourself out. Take yourself on a date, big guy. Go out and watch a little Lord of the Rings.
I read the books. I watched the movies. They're pretty.
When he kicked that helmet, he actually broke his toe. So that scream was real.
Stupid.
You know that?
That's stupid.
The obligatory statement.
Oh my god.
Okay,
honestly,
I didn't realize. Well, I mean, are you even a big fantasy? You're not really a big fantasy dude, anyway. Right?
You're
more of like a sci-fi kind of fandom.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if I had to, if I was forced to like find one genre, yeah. I mean, sci-fi would win over pretty much just about anything. But
find your joy.
Even then, Star Wars is
even the original. You're not talking about the original 3, are we?
I mean, to a point. The
Dude,
whole
we are on the cusp of Dragon Con.
that.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, drink your Scotch or pepper, bud.
I'm.
Is he really even a nerd? Can he even be part of the nerding out segment?
Yes, because we're not about gatekeeping here. We're about inclusion.
Fine.
And even our dumbest brothers and sisters are allowed.
Even if he's
at the
wrong,
table.
I suppose he can still be at the table.
So, boy, I don't like Star Trek. So
I know Star Trek does the same thing.
I hate it.
Star Trek legit loops time stories, like time travel stories, throughout every freaking storyline and version that they do. That's the crutch that they walk on. And humanity's great, and it ain't great. So
no, I get Charles. I get it, because like everyone's like, "What? You don't like Star Trek?" I was like, "Yeah, I know. I watched the first season of like The Next Generation." Everyone's like, "That's the worst one." I said, "Well, then why'd they put it first?" And they're like, "Well, you gotta watch past that."
Look at Star Wars. They started with number 4 because they were worried about the first one being bad.
It's a great joke.
That's good. But yeah, so I mean,
well, then what are you nerding out about, Charles? If it's not Lord of the Rings, what are you nerding about?
I feel the life change coming, and I don't mean menopause. Before you jump in there, Phil, I can see your face. You're on live camera right now.
This is a family show. I am alone at a black screen, buddy.
But man,
so you feel the Gandalf character coming to bring you on an adventure in your life? The life change?
Not at all.
You know, he had those eagles the whole time. We could have saved all this time.
Right? Oh my god. Anyway, it's the timing. You know, he waited over that stupid hill for like 3 hours while they were dying
for the sun
to come up to be like,
I mean, buddy, hold on. Time out.
You let millions die.
You haven't seen it, but your argument's not wrong, because like he did have a wagon full of fireworks and a whole lot of sweet leaf with him. And if I have some sweet leaf and some fireworks, I'm going to be delayed as well, no matter where I'm going.
Stupid. Man, no, I've been looking at how work and life and everything is piling up. Phil knows a little bit more about some of what's going on than most people. But even today, I was like, man, I am sitting here. I have been on more shows in the last couple of weeks because of Dragon Con, right? And that's what I love to do, talk to people. And it's opened up doors where I've always been willing to go and talk to people. But you slap hey, I'm a Dragon Con spokesperson, and my friends are coming out of the woodwork going, hey, we'd like to have you on the show. I was like, I would have been on the show with you for years, but thank you for having me. And that's it. The work is getting smoothed out. I'm, evolving is a wrong word for it, but I am becoming a-hole 2.0, if you will, of just the person that gets to the point, gets things done, hold people accountable. Work's going well. 1 EMS is starting to pick up. DragonCon is definitely going gangbusters for me. So many big things are happening. And it's key. I'm very busy and I'm not stressed at all. And that's what I'm talking about being so close. Is like I have hit, everybody should in their life, I believe, hit different areas of your life where, man, things got tough. And then you look back, it's like, oh, that was right before I hit into the next phase of what I'm doing, either as a creator, as an adult, as a human being, whatever. And we got some cool conversations planned for DragonCon, but not even that. Just this year alone, really landing on Be Awesome Together for the show for the DragonCon digital media track. If you followed it through the first part of the year, and even last year, where we started it, Tyra and I were kind of struggling, trying to figure out what it was, and then it just hit. And when it hit, it became exactly what I wanted it to be. And here we are, I don't know, 9 years later from my first DragonCon or whatever. And I sat in the final panel and said, hey, couldn't there, wouldn't you just rather have some kind of place that people can come to you, creators can come to you and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, I'd like to help work on a panel. And
you mean like a Discord?
Yes.
That you didn't even want to do.
I didn't step on his story, so he gets time out. All right.
But also Discord, I mean, they're made for muting. They're not made for communicating. They're made for muting.
That is Phil's way. He mutes them. But the real idea is we've had a lot of moves this year, like internally on moving around the schedule. Since 2019, we have not hit 10 versions of the schedule. We dropped version 10 this past weekend. So we have been building, we've been stabilizing, and it's come together. And that means all I'm really doing is managing the personalities and the content. And Phil, I counted it up the other night. Didn't mean to do it, just kind of worked out this way. I'm on 7 panels this year, which is the most panels I've been on in the last 5 years. And I'm going to do official DragonCon stuff at the parade. And I might be doing some last minute interviews on site. I mean, there's just so much going, and it feels like you think the more it piles on, the more you get stressed. It's just smooth and everything's working out, and I'm getting some really big opportunities right now.
Like
a
finely aged scotch.
There you go. 42 years. That's what we need. But yeah, that's what I'm nerding up, and I see it in you, Phil. I've seen where you've come from. I've seen the basement dumpster wait for that hard call days. And I see where you are now and where you are with the show. The show botch has been better than it's ever been. I saw you jump on the other night and did Feel Scared Stupid. You haven't done that in well over a year.
No, it's been a while.
It's been a while. And Joe, you've had some stops and starts, but man, when we came together and we landed on the right thing of what Wise and Nerdy was, and then we spent the better part of a year refining it, figuring it out, just trying things. And now here we are. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you've told this story to your wife, but she's watching live. So you might.
I'm divorced now, so you're good. You can do that. Yeah.
You might send your wife out for some cigarettes or something if you don't want to hear the story right now. So Joe was always kind of reticent. He was held back. I'm the guy's like, I'll go to every con. I'm doing everything live. That is my life. I need to make my income. I need to support my family doing this. Why are you squinting? Turn the light off, old man.
No. I'm listening.
All right. And coming out of last year, and we did DragonCon, and I told Joe, I was like, hey, man, this is the show. Even though the turnout for DragonCon was lesser than, I would say, but the participation was good. We learned things from it. We always learn things from it. But just landing on what we've landed on, I said, Joe, this is the show. And we came up with Fatherhood Meets Fandom, and we've really leaned into the segments and getting guests on, and sometimes Phil. And it's been pretty decent. But Joe was like, yeah, I can only do DragonCon. Kelsey won't let me do anything else. I can only do DragonCon. I'm like, all right, Rain Man. Just, hey, hear me out. So you know what I did? Kelsey? I made it easy. It's like, I'll find cons in your backyard, buddy, just to see if you're going to go to the next level with me. And he went, oh, sure, I can't say no to a con in my backyard. Doesn't cost me anything. And it killed. Took like a room of 10, but it killed. And we made a new friend in Bob Magoo. and Joe comes out of that. We go to dinner and just ideas, just on fire. Now, how many cons are we doing this calendar year, Joe? As Wise and Nerdy.
4 or 5? I can't remember.
I believe it's 4 because we did Chattacon, Southern Fried Gaming, Dragon Con, and we've already lined up. I keep calling it Conjuration. It's not Conjuration. It's
the one in November.
Yes.
Is it contraception?
No, there's a hole in his sheet. Don't worry. He's got 3 kids. There's got to be a hole. That's the wrong religion. I'm sorry, Kelsey.
That's the wrong religion, you idiot.
It is. It totally is wrong religion.
It is Conjuration.
Is it Conjuration?
Nailed it.
Mm-hmm. I've been calling it something wrong, and I keep having to credit that, but Conjuration in October. So, here we are, and Kelsey's right there with you, and she's been watching live, and that's what I'm nerding out about right now, that the work we put in has not been something that splits off. The work that we've put in has just gotten bigger and better and more awesome. And that's what I'm excited about now, is that no longer am I working with people that will get left behind, clearly. Now, we won't always go to the same exact place, but you won't get left behind. And I'm working with great people doing great things, and it's awesome.
So then when do we see a Kelsey art at Dragon Con?
The kids aren't quite old enough for that.
You said when they became teenagers.
And in
Mormon math, Jebediah is like a young adult right now. Come on.
Yeah, he'll be married off in like a couple years. He'll be married off. And he'll have 3 kids.
If he's going to get his magic underwear, he has to go plow the field, right? That's the thing.
Oh man!
I love that you just make the Mormons sound like the Amish.
He
it's
came
my
in
favorite
with the sand.
thing.
He came in with the sand. And he tried to do it off air, but he forgets. I drag everything on air, baby. We do this.
Well, I'm so happy you missed what Phil and I talked about before you got here.
I'm sure. Oh yeah, Kelsey says I would love to come this year. The Hobbits will be there.
No, hold on. Kelsey, this is the second year in a row the Hobbits have shown up. So I'm not saying that they'll come again, but second breakfast, second con. So I'm sure when the kids are ready, or I mean, you got grandparents. I guess I shouldn't guess that.
Look. If you just
Kelsey's parents are nearby.
Yeah, there you go.
If you just go to
they couldn't
Tree,
handle the kids for a weekend.
No. You just go to Dollar Tree, hang a cross on the door. CPS can't get past that. They won't check on them until you get back from con. Just leave them at home.
Just take some lamb's blood. It'll be all great.
Don't they have like you're allowed to like check your dog or cats over the weekend? Isn't there something you can do that?
Yeah,
with kids?
take the kids to a kennel. That would be perfect.
Right? Some of those kennels are better than some hotels I've stayed at.
I mean, you're not wrong. They're definitely better than some daycares that are out there.
Too close to my home.
Even more. The family, Joe's family, the family art came down to Atlanta to go to the Volunteer Appreciation Day, which is a pretty big day for them. Because I mean, it's 3 hours, 2.5 hours ish here.
Yeah.
And so they did this big drop, and that's how much more Joe has gone from, being bought by a show to really bringing his family included. And when I see that does get me super excited. When your family gets involved, you're ready to chase your dreams, whatever your dreams may be. It could be a freaking being an Apple farmer the rest of your life, whatever. We'll power behind. It'll be fine. But when you get my kids, both of my oldest kids are volunteering this year at Dragon Con. My wife gets apparently as a director, I get a +1 for my spouse. So she gets to come for free and take care of the food for us like she did last year. No hot dogs, Phil, so you can stay away. It's fine.
I'm going to bring my own.
You do that.
I got a little freezer bag full of hot dogs ready to go.
But you won't even cook them.
No, they're going to be, they're not going to be cooked.
So gross.
Just pocket dogs.
Oh my God. And it's going to be another amazing year. And that's what I'm nerding out about right now.
Roll that dice.
Speaking of next year, the ImaginaryNomad might be coming to Dragon Con next year.
Okay, we'll make a special panel.
We'll talk.
That happens.
But yeah, I'll tell you something once we get off air.
Sure,
but,
fair enough.
All right.
A commercial break would be good right now.
Thank you, Mongo. All right. So here we go. This is your last pre-DragonCon chance to become a patron. Patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy. That'll get you right in. You'll get the full, I mean, it ends up being like 2 hours, sometimes close to 3 hours of us talking pre and post show every week. You'll get the show like a day or two after it records, the full thing. And you'll get the con specials like we did with the show with Bob Magoo back at Chattacon. That went on Patreon. That'll be going out by the end of the year. We'll release it for the holidays, but you don't have to wait. Yeah, no, that's his name. I know, Phil. I know. And if you pay enough money on Patreon, sometimes we'll have you on like Phil. Phil buys his way on here every single time.
So I'm hoping that every dollar that I give over at patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy, that's not long to say or anything, will be used on a commission of Big C as a brony.
Stop!
So that's at patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy.
We need to add a $20 brony level. Just saying. All right, everybody, this is your moment of zen before you come to the chaos that is DragonCon.
So what do you think your little symbol on your back haunch would be? It would be a microphone. That's a dumb question. I know it's a microphone. Yeah. What would your special pony name be? What do you think? I'll think of it. We'll get back to it by the end of the show. I'll brainstorm with myself.
Pony Fieri.
No, that's two on the snout. Come on.
Pony a doodle, rock a pony.
No, don't worry about it.
All right.
I'll figure it out.
Roll the dice, Joe.
Sparkle Rock.
Joe, that's something very different in Atlanta. We can't say that.
Look, I'm not big. I don't give a crap about the ponies, but I actually find myself nostalgic for Care Bears, and I loved Grumpy Care Bear. He was the best.
All right, should we do our speak pipes? We got a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, coming right out of the thing. We'll do the speak pipe. You're right.
None of them are bad dad jokes. So
holy crap! Well, we have a plethora of demure speak pipes.
Okay. All right, so these first three are going to be from Cousin Mike.
Hey, it's Cousin Mike calling in. I am not dead.
Well, that's good.
Lots of stuff going on. Getting ready to buy my first house.
Do you think that's how he leaves every voicemail that he has ever left? Hey, it's Cousin Mike.
Oh,
that's right. I'm not dead.
If I get your voicemail from now on, Phil, I'll be like, my brother Christ, I am not dead at this time. Please call me back.
I will be so angry to have to go and delete that.
I'm going to call you 5 times on the plane tomorrow morning. So you come back and find all that.
Oh my God. I will kick your mirrors off your car. I don't care that it is not your car.
Oh man.
My sister in the Lord.
All 3 of my suitcases are 50 pounds exactly. I will throw one up so when you go to catch it and hit the other one right in your stomach.
All right, get back to the.
Go back to Mike.
Hey, it's Cousin Mike.
It doesn't let me pause and just
calling
restart.
In.
So
I am not dead.
Play from the beginning.
Just lots of stuff going on. Getting ready to buy my first house. Close next Tuesday. Today's the 24th. It's a Saturday, and I was just kind of getting some things together for that. And I was listening to the podcast. Thought I'd call in. The house it was built in the 70s, and they found asbestos, so we have to get that removed because I'm not living there with that
it's like
possible
baby.
threat living over my head. And we're also replacing the carpets. We're painting the walls. We're doing stuff because we don't have to move in right away. We live with my parents, and that's the only way we were able to save up and afford this. But what other updates would you guys look at? I've had a home inspector, so they've tested everything, and everything's fine. The only possible thing is the AC unit, but that's covered by the HOA for the place we're buying.
What?
So, like, what other updates, things I should look at, consider, since I'm a first-time home buyer, this is all new, and most people are giving me lots of crazy recommendations that I don't think I need to do. So I wanted to ask people I don't know personally, but kind of know. Anyways, have a good one.
Okay, real quick. Were y'all talking about home ownership and upgrades? Are we sure this voicemail was meant for us and not somebody who's actually related to him?
Nah, don't know. He's not dead. That's what we know.
Oh, that's
Speaking of not dead, Kurt?
Hello, boys.
Hour and a half in, we got Kurt.
Yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it at all, and I have a few minutes. So I just
Nice to see you. Cool. Back to you, sir.
Nice. I would expect no less.
Good.
I just wanted to pop in and say I'm gonna miss you guys terribly. Have fun at Dragon Con and come back with lots of stories.
Well, here's my question for you now that we have you. Mike,
I wish I could say the same.
Mike, we are professional home people, so we'll get back to your question. How much of an update do you want?
Mike.
Do you want to go like no anything during con because you'll be sulking into your
No, I want it all.
Michelob Ultra Light.
I want it all. I want it all. So here's the other thing. Because my surgery doesn't actually happen until next Wednesday. I technically could have gone to Dragon Con, but the problem is going to Dragon Con and not catching something that would prevent my surgery from actually happening is little to no chance of that happening.
That wasn't the question. The question was, how sad are you?
No, the question was, what else should he get his home looked at for the inspection?
That's true.
Yeah, if you had a house from the 70s, what would you look for to update?
Shag carpeting.
Yep.
Yeah, I will say.
Take it off the carpet and plaster it on the walls. Have shag wallpaper.
Yep.
Great for cats. They love that.
Perfect soundproofing. It works. I will say the one thing that we did when we remodeled the house we're in, it was an older house, probably in the 70s as well. It had this little separation wall between the entryway, if you will, which should have been the living room entryway, which is tiny, to the kitchen. We took the wall out, which made it a big open space. And in return, my wife put in cabinets and floor cabinets and elevated cabinets that turned the floor cabinets into a bar, so that everybody was at my house last year for the after party. You saw that it just becomes this buffet instantly. And that has been like the most genius thing that she's ever thought of in a house. I think that not just taking down the wall for space, but putting up just all the extra storage space, but making it where you can serve if you're that kind of person. If not, it just really makes for good place to put your stuff. But how's the HOA covering your AC? That bothers me. I don't want anybody paying for anything in my house, because that can backfire.
It does seem weird. I would like to know the specifics of that as well. Because, Didn't
we already have an HOA discussion?
We did. He brought it up into that phone call.
I have never heard of an HOA paying for your air conditioning unit.
Yeah, I don't deal with HOAs because they're just crime syndicates. But the thing is, it makes me also think like, okay, they're going to pay for it. So then who owns it? Does the HOA own that, or do you own that? So if it's not in stone already that they're paying for that,
Conrad, we own that.
Yeah. The things that I would look at that people aren't talking about, though, I would check how old your hot water heater is. They normally last between 10 to 12 years, and they won't give you any sign that they're going to go until they go. And they rust out from the inside, and then it blows out by the bottom. I would also do the
roof.
Sounds like Phil.
Yeah, you jumped on it.
Excuse me, boys. As of today, I'm on new Crohn's medicine. So jokes on you. I have Okay. Another thing that I would do
Commit
is
to the bit, Phil. Commit to the bit.
it's a family show.
He's good to go, like a Crunchwrap Supreme.
His chocolate starfish will not puke.
It's a family show, Charles. Come on.
That was way worse than I was going to say. Go ahead.
Take a thing of incense or a candle that's been blown out and put it around your doors and windows to see if there's any draft coming in or out. If you can't afford to place your doors and windows, some weather stripping should take care of that real easily. But that's where you're going to have a lot of your energy loss is your house trying to cool or heat up with it going right out the windows. Because like our fathers always said, you weren't raised in a barn, so keep those windows and doors closed. Also, if you are heating or cooling houses, keep the doors closed for the rooms that you're not using so that room will heat up and the air conditioner or the heater will stop so it doesn't continuously try to just pump cold or hot air through the house. There's a lot more, but those are kind of things that nobody talks about.
Well, I was actually going to talk about again.
And check your water meter and then check it again because if you do have a leak in a toilet or in a faucet, it won't show up until you get the bill. But if you track your water meter for at least a couple weeks, you'll be able to see exactly how much water you're using. And then if there is a problem, then you can start putting dyes in toilets and other things around the house to see where the leak is actually coming from.
I was going to talk about the doors and the windows because that is a big thing. When my wife's mother passed away, she got a little bit of inheritance. And even though we were renting the house, we dropped I don't know how many grand on replacing because the wooden door, you can see cracks in it. You can see sunlight through the front main door in the cracks. And sure enough, I mean, we saw our bills go significantly down. We didn't do windows there, but we did all the doors and even that. And we replaced the flooring. And that helped. We had a full basement in that house. And that's the other thing. If you have a basement, just make sure you put some kind of insulation in between. Because most time in a basement, it's like my studio here. It's open to the rafters, which then supports the subfloor, in the house. But if you put just a little bit of insulation there, it'll help a lot. The other thing I'd add to it is I saved a ton of money by locking my kids out and my wife out of an electronic
out of the house.
Smart.
Just
out
of the house.
Yeah. But I got a smart.
I
got one of the thermostats. Right. And I programmed it and put a password on it. And that, especially
that is the ultimate dad mode. That is dad move. Primo, man. That's great.
They touched the thermostat. How dare they?
I mean, it's money. And that's the thing. You pointed towards a window, but you got a window unit in the window next to you, Phil.
Yeah,
that is key. Those things are way more efficient than central heating.
It's great. It's great. And I don't run it all the time, right? I'll run it about 20 minutes before I get in here, and then in the winter, I take them out, secure them, store them away. I'm too lazy.
I don't take it out in the winter.
Well, I do, man. Your house.
Well, yeah, okay, y'all snowing. So yeah.
My house was built in 1900, so it's a lot older than a lot of the houses that were built in Georgia during the Reconstruction.
Hey, baby, sometimes you gotta break an egg.
So nice, you had to rebuild it twice. Atlanta, Georgia.
Any thoughts, Carter Joe?
Don't air condition with the window open.
Okay, thank you, Kurt. Go back to sniffing babies. So one thing I recommend, depending on your height, if you're tall enough to where it's comfortable, I don't know what they're officially called at like Lowe's, but the handicap toilets, the larger elevated toilets, those do so much better on your body over the years and your health of how your body processes things over the years. And the fact that you may be in this house the rest of your life. So think about doorways and hallways for stretchers, because most people don't think about that. But being a paramedic for 30 years, I look at every doorway and hallway that I go into when I'm looking to get a house.
Well, you wouldn't fit inside this house, big guy.
Probably not.
Also, here's a real quick tip. A lot of people don't think about this. I would either replace or at least blow out the dryer vent that's connected to the dryer outside. It's real easy to do. but a lot of house fires will start there because of the clog up from the actual lint from the dryer. And also, YouTube is your friend, man. Like, you're going to have to learn to fix all this by yourself because ain't nobody going to help you do it. And it's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper if you do it yourself. I fixed a lot of this stuff here just by watching YouTube tutorials and trying to teach myself. And everyone's going to be bad at first, but you just keep at it and just keep replacing it, man, and you'll be fine. My
highest recommendation is get yourself a Hue. Hugh comes down and he has a knack, and I got him to install an attic fan for me. I've gotten to rewire light switches. Find a Hue, and they'll do it for you for free. It's amazing.
Now you just need Hugh to take care of your Wi-Fi, and you'll be good to go.
Hey, that's not his expertise. And sand, boy, stop throwing sand. Play the next Speakpipe.
Hi, Tart.
All right. Well, here's the second one from Cousin Mike.
I'm going to text you a lot.
Hey, guys, it's Cousin Mike here. So I've got 3 anime recommendations for all of y'all. I don't know if any of you have seen them, but the first one is your boy Kong Ming, which is
That's a good one.
The historical figure Kong Ming in Asian history has been transported to the present day Japan and meets a singer and decides to help her become the most successful singer in the world. Super great show. Love it. Music's fantastic. The second anime I would recommend, it is an ongoing one. The most recent season just finished and the next season is starting production. And it is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And it is fantastic. It has a bunch of musical references in the names of characters and abilities and stuff, and it's so great. And the last one is a little darker and more adult themed, but not like sexual. It's more mature, I guess is the correct word. And it's called Monster. And you follow a doctor, his name is Tenma, and instead of saving the life of the president, he saves the life of a little boy shot in the head. And pays dearly for that, and then that boy then turns out to be a monster, and now Dr. Tenma feels responsible and chases him down. Anyways, this is Cousin Mike's anime recommendations. See ya.
So I thought JoJo's Bizarre Circus was just the last video JoJo Siwa released.
JoJo's Bizarre
Adventure. I gotta leave.
Weird.
Kurt's like, we're talking about anime. Bye.
Bye. Seriously, have a great time this week, and I can't wait to hear the stories.
I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, cool. See you.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too.
All right.
Let's play the next one.
And now for a third one from Cousin Mike.
Cousin Mike's got a lot of time on
I am calling in because in, I think, the pre-show you guys were talking about conspiracy theories. And I love conspiracy theories. And I get branded a conspiracy theorist because I do believe in some of them. My favorite one is, well, my favorite conspiracy theory that you can actually prove is real is that the government misplaced billions of dollars and then the next day 9/11 happened. Just gonna throw that one out there. That one's interesting because there's all the documents to kind of prove that was like just reported, and then the next day 9/11 happened, and now it's swept under the rug. But yeah, my other favorite conspiracy theory that actually the majority of people actually believe is that everything's going to be fine. Yep, that's my all-time like up there one is that people believe everything's just gonna be fine.
Don't look up. Yep. No, that's that flowed right into my conspiracy theory.
Take care.
What a weird break. I thought he was just done.
No, he's like, it's a dramatic pause. By the way, I'm still not dead. This is Mike.
I got a house now. It's not dead either. So, all right. Next one, Joe.
All right. This one is from Devo.
Sitting here waiting for my chicken. Every Tuesday, they have a special here. 8-piece dark chicken, thighs, legs for $10. I have to buy 2 buckets for my children because they are voracious beasts. And if one bucket won't do them, two barely does. And if I ask to have a piece, they look at me like I am starving them. They really do love the KFC chicken. It is pretty good, I must admit. Although I do like Popeye's chicken too. But I digress. I better go in there and get it before my children start calling me, wondering where their food is.
I mean, it's no Publix chicken. But also, you can tell how white Devo is. Because if you were raised in a black household like I was, Daddy gets his piece of chicken. And it doesn't matter if it sits there in the fridge for 3 days. You do not touch Daddy's piece of chicken.
Well, that's why he bought an entire bucket just for himself. The other bucket's for his kids.
I would be ordering double orders and eating mine in the car on the way home. And then you stop at a Lowe's, right? And you throw it in the trash can that's right next to the cart collector so that nobody knows. And then you eat more of your kids' chicken once you get home.
You know what? That's a good strategy. I like it.
I spend a lot of money at Wawa, brother. You don't understand this? Like, I have a system.
All right, here's another one from Devo.
On the topic of KFC, one of the saddest things that happened with KFC is they no longer sell gizzards. About 2-3 years ago, they stopped selling them. At least here, I haven't been able to find it. There is a local chain that sells them, and I go in there and I get my gizzards. And I know people think I'm crazy. Man, gizzards are the best. Now, my brother, he likes chicken livers. Not my thing. I'll leave them for him. Man, chicken gizzards. Fried chicken gizzards. Just the best.
It's just say,
Okay, so here's the thing. Our grandparents used to eat this stuff.
We're not
they were poor.
Yeah.
They were poor. It was either eat the dirt or eat chicken gizzards and chicken feet. We don't have to do that no more. You could pay $1 extra to get the part that's connected to the gizzard, you know? The chicken breasts. Like, you could those taste better, brother. Believe me.
I feel like this is an abuse situation. Like, he's been abused so long by his kids.
He's a masochist.
He thinks that the leftover little bones they throw to him is actually good, and he misses that part of it.
Well, you're not supposed to give those to the dad because they can actually splinter and get caught in the system, and then it will rip it all up. Then, you know, you can't give your dad chicken bones no more.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
All right.
Joe? Okay. I mean, yeah, like Joe didn't hold.
I've never been a big fan of gizzard or liver.
Of the pieces you throw away? Well, that's not true because I eat scrapple, so I can't even talk.
Whoa!
Scrapple is delicious, despite me at Dragon Con.
I've had scrapple. It's okay.
Oh, no, it's awful. I understand, Joe. You don't have to defend it. There is nothing to defend. It is a sloppy brick of gross, and I'm here for all of it.
Ramen noodles.
It's breakfast spam.
Are healthier than that, and we're not the
Spam is a lot
fallout of
better.
the stock market Dust Bowl pours anymore.
I don't care.
My dad used to love having scrapple with over easy eggs and
it's greatest.
Mix it all up.
And how's that working for him now, Joe? How's that working for him now?
He's dead.
Exactly.
You know, my dad also ate scrapple and scrambled eggs and put it all together.
And now he's dead.
God damn it, Big Scrapple's after us.
Big Scrapple. Wow.
One of my dad's just Scrapple.
There's so many of our
Scrapple is humans.
There's so many of our listeners that are like, what the heck is Scrapple?
Oh, ask your grandparents.
I've literally never found it outside of Pennsylvania. So.
No, you can't. Joe, I live 10 minutes from the Maryland borderline, and you can't even get it down there. So
yeah, my brother, he's a couple of times for his birthday, his wife has shipped it out on a refrigerated truck for him.
Refrigerated? Just put it through UPS.
This look at Phil has that says underground scrapple dealer all day long. All day.
First base is free.
He's got your fix for you.
Do we have another horrible voicemail?
We have two. We still have two more speak pipes.
All right.
I'm rolling the trash can out. It is so hot. We've had such nice weather, and then suddenly it's 100, 35 Celsius. It's just, ugh. And oh,
Down he goes.
and horse flies are out. Language. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm running. Have a good Dragon Con.
So
He's running from horseflies.
I mean, he sets up every voicemail as like a dad joke is coming.
What? And it never pays off.
But like, it's not a dad joke, so there is no payoff.
It's exactly like the Lord of the Rings. There's just no payoff.
Like,
Oh.
all right, let's get this done. I'm done. Let's go. Come on, roll through
And I was
these.
gonna say it's like Phil's dad. There's no child support. I mean payoff.
No child support. There's no
Drop your
child
jokes
support
before
either.
you say them, Joe. Also, you're in the same boat that I am.
We still have 2 more segments to go. Hit the button.
All right, we got another one from Devo.
I guess I'm not going to bed before I get
Listen
on
to
the
you guys
plane.
talk about asking your wives to marry you. Mine was we went out to a casino that had a really nice restaurant that we had been recommended, and I took my wife. It was after work, kind of a little tired, but we dressed up, went out. It was raining really hard. The food ended up not being that great. Service was kind of slow, wasn't that great. So it wasn't a great event. And I had in my pocket the ring. And I wasn't sure exactly when. And so my wife is about a year, I think we're almost a year and a half, maybe 2. And so she starts dropping hints like, so where are we going with this stuff? And I'm like, and I just sort of played it off. And I didn't want to ask her in the restaurant. So we settle up, walk
Went to the
out.
alley
I
out
tell my
back.
wife's agitated. She's not got the answer she's looking for. Raining like mad. Get in the car, and she gets in. She gets in real huffy, and I reach and I open up the ring and I ask her, "Will you marry me?" And she said, "Joe, are you serious?" I'm like, "Yes, I am serious." And she was very happy. And she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know when this was ever going to happen. I thought this is going to happen. I'm going to have to, get out of this relationship because, you won't do anything." So, yeah.
See what could happen? See what could happen. Pee or get off the pot, as Dolly Parton said. Is that the last one?
Yes, that is the last speak pipe.
All right, roll the dice. We got some bad dad jokes, dad telling a story, and hobbyists.
You are so right.
Bad dad jokes.
All
You're
right.
muted, Phil.
Are you ready?
I see your face. So that's the raise I won't get.
Are you sure? He's like, no, I'm out of here. All
This
right.
is a really bad setup so far.
Oh, man. There is absolutely nothing wrong with asbestos. My grandfather worked around asbestos for 60 years and never developed any health issues. It did take 3 days straight to cremate him, but that's beside the point.
That's not how asbestos works in the body. Yo, I figured though, if we cremate Phil, he'll burn for 4 days.
Like the oil in Jerusalem.
Yeah. With all the internal alcohol in your cells.
I have been sober for over 30 days, brother.
But your cells haven't.
You know what we need to do sometimes instead of bad dad jokes?
Anything else?
We should do some
Stick a
Chuck,
poker in my eye.
Chuck Norris jokes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I like some Chuck
There's some
Norris
good ones
jokes.
out there.
Do you have a favorite?
I kind of like death at a near Chuck Norris experience.
That's good. That's a good one. Well, there was a time when Chuck Norris decided to play a joke and he peed in the gas tank of a semi. That semi is now known as Optimus Prime.
Right.
What's a guitar player's favorite Italian food?
What?
A stromboli. So I had to make it PG, right?
That's right.
Roll that dice. Roll that dice. Roll that dice.
That sounds very familiar. It almost sounds like
Paid.
it almost sounds like this.
Roll the dice. Oh my god. Just roll it already. Killing me, Smith.
Okay.
Daddy, tell me a story.
Joe, I gotta imagine this story you brought to the table about getting free cable for years is probably similar to a lot of kids in the 80s, as I have my own story along these lines. So, did your daddy steal it, or how'd you get? Did Jesus provide it? How'd you get free cable?
So, my dad decided we couldn't afford cable anymore, and he asked them to, cut it off. So they came out, and they unplugged it, and they're like, okay, it's cut off. Well, my brother walked over and just screwed it back in. And so my dad comes home. He's like, I thought I told them to turn off the cable. And my brother's like, I just screwed it back in. And so my dad actually called them and said, look, I don't want to be paying for this anymore. We're not supposed to have cable. Come turn it off. And they said, we already turned it off. And so he's like, okay, as long as I'm not paying for it. And so for it was like 5 or 6 years we had cable but didn't pay for it. And I remember my dad, this was, as a kid I didn't realize what he was doing, but as an adult I'm like, that's pretty clever. He used to tell me all the time that we couldn't write in for these free sweepstakes because then we'd lose our cable. And so I'd see some kind of sweepstakes going on the, like, they had those promotions where they'd give you the Disney Channel for like 2 weeks or something, and then so I'd see like a sweepstakes on there. Oh, I want to write in on it, or ahead of watching the Spider-Man animated series, they'd have a sweepstakes. Oh, I want to write in for it. No, we can't do that. I've already told you, because then we'll lose our cable, and we don't want to lose our cable.
What's more important, the dopamine from something very small and dumb, or having cable.
so
very funny.
We never entered any of these sweepstakes because we were going to lose our cable.
Phil, follow me here. Joe, I'm assuming because of that principle of how it was beaten into you, you never got into Columbia House Records.
Nope, never did.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
Papa NASCAR got you good. I mean, he taught you well. Is all I'm saying.
Know it's like this hillbilly genius. Every story that leaks out from your tree, your family tree,
Right?
it's just like, I'm pretty sure that somewhere down the line, y'all were part of the bootleggers that ran between Canada and Chicago, right? That ended up with, starting NASCAR. Like, I'm sure one of the drivers' last name was Ard because of the ridiculousness that's come out of your family.
But they're still genius, though.
Oh, I know. Wait, I'm not making fun of him. I'm like, he's got a point. Yeah. Columbia House, I filled out one of those like for fun while I was at my grandma's house because I was bored, and she mailed it in, and then she got stuck on that mailing list, and all she had sent to her were a bunch of new metal records that I wanted, right? Oh, bless her heart.
I did the whole penny thing, not realizing how much they charged for it. It was a mess. Columbia House is a mess, man. My free cable story was not the cable itself, but the free weekends that they did, HBO, Cinemax, Disney, when it first came out, all that stuff. And there was a point in time for all those channels, and they combined into one moment of life to where they did a free weekend. We're doing our thing. We're watching. And then come Monday, it didn't cut off. Come Tuesday, it didn't cut off. Now, my mom, especially HBO, because my dad's the preacher, but you would think my mom's the preacher, the way she acted, the way he acted. So he's like, HBO free weekend, get that TV Guide. Okay, Joe, TV Guide was this magazine we'd have to buy. That would let you know the times and stuff when stuff's coming on.
And not only that, they had their own channel, right?
Before that.
Oh, no, I understand that. But like coming into the digital age of cable, they had the channel that would scroll up, and if you missed channel 32, Joe,
you gotta wait another 5 minutes to see what's on.
Yeah, but my dad would go with a highlighter and get the physical TV guide, and highlight them and have the VCR right. Like he brought a VCR home from the church because we couldn't afford one, and he'd record all these movies and stuff. And then one Monday didn't shut off, one Tuesday didn't shut off, and my mom was like, "It's the devil. It's gotta be shut. We're not paying for this." So she called 4 different times over a month, say, "Cut it off. We're still getting Disney, and we're still getting HBO." Finally, they were like, "I don't know what to do, lady. It says you're not getting it. You're welcome." And for then 3 years, it was Skinamax and HBO and Disney all on top of the regular package. And it was
it's
the best thing Jesus ever did for me. It was awesome. It was great. It was great. Phil, do you have a free
nope, not at all.
What about
my family is very sports centric, and those were always on cable. So it was worth the money for the old man to watch sports.
To the point of, you're talking about that physical cable, Joe, and you're talking about at some point it became switches and computers or whatever. Even then, they don't get done right. I've moved into a house that somebody else has owned, or an apartment somebody else rented before me, and I always go check the cable jacks with the TV. Hey, look, this one got left on. Oh, I got a direct TV box, or I have an old Dish Network. I kept old boxes with me to go, oh, they never turned off their Dish Network.
Interesting.
I'm just going to ride this ride until it gets shut off. I got a lot of free TV that way.
My kid's mom, her house has 3 dishes that have been cemented into the chimney, right? And we never took them off, right? But we never thought about testing those lines. And now I think I'm going to come. Well, I'm sure she's going to love that. Come into her house with a bunch of cables. I got to test something. Don't worry. Yeah. I'm not playing Warcraft anymore, but I need to test your lines.
Don't worry. I'm not playing Warcraft yet. Oh, man. It is that though. The whole I wonder if I just screw it back in, if that'll work. And I can't believe you can't unzip a tar and get that in the right place. It's crazy. It's crazy. But
it's a stromboli because a guitar player strums their guitar.
How's that hurdy-gurdy coming?
Well, Kurt got it for me, so I'm not going to put it together.
That's
I don't want it. It's got to be mint in box, right? When I resell
it. Hey, no, you only build pieces when you see them show up on the show. So it's still going to take a few years for you to put that together.
And then when Danny goes to college, he can finally play it for the first time.
I said, Phil, I've never seen a hurdy-gurdy in real life ever. Technically, I still haven't. But I came across this random TikTok where this lady had a hurdy-gurdy playing some new song, like some modern radio song. I just sent it to Phil to say, hers is put together. What's wrong with you?
You can buy me one over at patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy. As soon as we hit that $5,000 mark, we will get me a hurdy-gurdy. And also a brony.
And when you get the hurdy-gurdy, we need a new intro music or new commercial music.
No, what will happen is I'll have a terrible accident and I can't hear anymore, so I won't be able to play it, right? Now that I have time, I can finally have all the time of the world, right?
That's
and then you break your glasses.
Well, yeah, that's what I say. I go deaf.
Side effects of WoW include deafness, and nobody likes you.
And crows.
And smelly armpits.
So wrap this out, Joe. You don't seem like much of a hobbyist to me. You play a little Switch. You talk to me once a week. But, I guess you want to know, how do you start a new hobby?
Yeah.
First, you get that free code from Phil to get a WoW month, and then that's your hobby for the rest of your life.
And then you get addicted.
Yeah.
He's like, don't listen to those Jehovah's Witnesses that are knocking on your door. You just need this WoW card.
Joe, Jehovah's Witnesses are a cult, but the Mormons are your neighbors. Come on, brother. Let's play some WoW together.
Oh, man.
Hey, you know what? We'd have people show up for the monthly game night to play WoW with you.
Yeah.
Phil would show up.
I'd show up.
The Wise and Nerdy Guild.
The show becomes WoW and Nerdy.
Now you're talking.
Oh man.
You use your Patreon money for your subscription. Bam, bing bong, pays for itself.
Bing bong.
And then you stream it, right? And then people give you bits, and now you're making money off of your money. It's called investing, Joe. Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, see, that's the problem, Joe. Phil and I don't do hobbies. We do careers.
Was WoW the game where they were having Chinese prisoners play it to gold farm and earn real money?
Doing it, Joe.
Allegedly.
Oh man. But no, like when you're starting a hobby, how do you go about it? Like you're interested in it. What do you do? Nothing.
Get more specific. I mean,
okay,
nothing.
no, Joe, I got you.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So invest time over money. Step 1, invest time over money. So I have a lot of musical instruments inside this house, right? And I'm always looking to pick up new ones. So once I decide that I want to teach myself to play a new instrument, it's time over money. So I will even go out there and I will get a beginner's banjo, all right? Invest $50 into it. It's not going to sound great, right? But it's exactly what I need. I need just something that I can learn how to play this new thing, because I'm not going to be playing it in public. I'm not going to be playing it, on stream. I'm not going to be playing it anywhere. I'm playing it for myself because I want to learn how to do it. So then once I feel like I will get the basics under myself, that's when I start investing a little bit of my time in like different playing styles and different, why is this one have an open back versus I'll start autistically deep diving for 2 weeks on this new topic. And that's how I do it, right? I don't want to spend, $2,000 on a banjo and then after 2 weeks not want to play the banjo no more, right?
Yeah.
So and it goes with anything like content creation as well, right? It's always better to put your time into something than money, because what ends up happening, like if I don't enjoy this new instrument, I know that I could always donate it to a Goodwill or to a local church, or even my kid's school does like fundraisers where you bring in things that you would sell at a yard sale and then they sell it and take the profits. So just kind of figure out what you want to do as a new hobby.
Well, because I love that advice, because I know in my life I have gone through stints of I'm really into this, and then I start doing it, and then maybe not so much, but then how much money have I invested into it, and things like that. So I think that's great advice. Of
stop talking about your kids that way.
Put in the time first, and then if you actually do end up liking it, then think about committing some money to it. I mean, even with like our podcasting stuff, our equipment, we didn't start off, at least I didn't start off with very good equipment at all. I just started off with a headset, and over time, as we've been collectively doing this for like 40 years now, almost, or 35 between the three of us, and so we have upgraded our systems over and over again. I got better equipment, and we make better shows.
But also what I'll do, Joe, like, because more than just music playing, like cooking is kind of a thing for me. I really enjoy cooking. It's a hobby. That is my love language. Like if I want to sit down and make you a meal, it's not just like I want to feed you. It's like, hey, I'm making you dinner for a reason, right? So for me to get into cooking, like I just let it consume my life, right? I didn't go out there and buy expensive knives right away or pans and stuff like that, man. But like I wasn't joking around. Like I will deep dive any topic for a good 2 weeks, and that consumes my life. So like I was watching cooking shows, I was reading Anthony Bourdain books, I was buying Kindle versions of cookbooks, watching YouTube videos on different recipes, looking up different techniques and stuff like that. Like I will consume everything about me, podcasts, like to the point where my partner's like, please just go podcast, go away from me. Like I've heard it. Just go and talk to your friends who have also heard it too much, but at least they have the decency to smile. I can't even smile anymore, Philip. And no, I don't I don't need homemade Crunchwrap Supremes, and I don't care if you got it off TikTok.
And that's just the clerk at Wawa
So,
saying this to you.
I think it's hilarious to use that example because my wife made us homemade Crunchwraps tonight for dinner.
That's what I did last night. Yeah, that's what I made last night. But yeah, man, just like find your thing, and you know, it could be anything. Dennis, do you know what Dennis's hobby is?
Writing his books.
No,
going to
that's
conventions and selling stuff.
no, he paints.
Yeah, he sells his paintings at conventions.
He does now,
too.
but like that was his thing. He went to art school, right? He was a painter. He paints nerdy little landscapes, and
you know
that's
what he doesn't paint?
What he does to kind of decompress and kind of recenter himself and get everything out of his mind. And he's good at it. I mean, it's not great, but like there's been a couple pieces that he's made. It's just like, I'm going to steal that when he's not looking. I'm going to steal that when he ain't looking. And I'll be like, Dennis, when that goes missing, it's at my house and my doors are locked and I have a gun. So good luck, brother.
Then why won't he finish that beautiful 3D printed Hulk he made me that he says he's got to paint? He won't paint it.
That is a different hobby. That is 3D printing.
But all he needs to do is paint it now. It's done.
Oh,
he showed it to me.
It's because he doesn't like you.
It's not even, he didn't even glue it together.
I didn't get a dinner from Phil. I don't get a painted Hulk. I don't get nothing. I get it. It's jib jab, no job.
I brought
no
you
job.
I brought you to the second best. I got you.
I went to Sheets. I did go to Sheets. I'm not a hobbyist. Everything I do, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make money at it or how it fits into my speaking thing. You're talking about relaxing, decompressing. I mean, I drink a little bit of scotch and I smoke some cigars. But how many times, if you watch my TikTok, how many times you see that show up on TikTok? It's pretty often. You see, this show is brought to you by the letter Scotch, every week type of deal. So even then, I don't know in my life what a hobby would be. I have zero desire to go walk a golf course or drive a golf cart. I have zero desire to go watch sports. I don't know what a hobby would be.
But whiskey and cigars is a hobby, right? You have specialty stores.
I mean, I'm not a sommelier, right? So,
no, but you do enjoy them, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like anything can kind of become a hobby. Like I work at a farm and a winery, right? So like people are winery people as a hobby, right? That's what they do on the weekend. They enjoy going to different wineries, tasting different wines, and going to. It's just you got to kind of find your avenue. And it seems like right now, Joe, you're just trying and having a little bit of trouble finding your avenue.
Is there something you were thinking of, Joe? Is there some?
No. Well, I just thought it was a good conversation to have.
Fair enough.
In general,
I would have to side with Kelsey and say, first off, it's just dirt. You can sit on the beach and watch your kids. That's how you start with a hobby. Just sit there.
Sit
there. And then you get a little wet. It's okay. Just sit there. Do it for the kids. Do it for the kids.
But also, I mean, reading is also a hobby, dude. Like, one of my old friends told me, Philip, there's two different hobbies: people who buy books and people who read books. And you are the first, brother. Like, you buy your books, you don't read them. And it's like, well, yeah, it's just not my hobby. But like reading books, book talk is a huge thing, right? A lot of the books that I read now have come off of book talk. Not all of them have been great, but when I'm buying them on the Kindle, it's like either it's on Kindle Unlimited, so it doesn't cost me a thing, or Kindle books are always like $10 or down. So you got to do a little soul searching, brother.
How many games do you have on your Steam that you haven't played, Joe? You don't get to just estimate. Exactly. Wait. So your hobby is collecting games, like a lot of people's. Bill collects games, movies, and books that he won't read, watch, or play.
No more, brother. I don't do it no more.
Really?
I stopped buying books, and I actually sold most of them to Second and Charles. And I threw all my DVDs into a bin and brought them down to Second and Charles. The only thing I'm buying these days, well, it doesn't matter. They're collecting dust, and I'm not using them. Retro games is the only thing that's my hobby, right?
Sure.
I got all my retro Game Boy games just right here sitting with me. Also collecting dust, but I also play them on stream. So,
I mean, sometimes having a reason to do something helps out, right? Not just being a hobby, but I was there at your house, Phil, and walked down to the studio and saw all the different Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Game Boy games and stuff. And they were sitting there for the most part. But once you started doing retro streaming, it gave you a reason to dive back into the thing you loved.
Yeah, 100%. But also, Joe, like having a hobby, you don't even have to do it. I mean, baseball, right? I love baseball. Love it to death. I love watching the Phillies play every night, but also I go to minor league baseball games, right? Just because I love the atmosphere and I love watching baseball and I love eating hot dogs, and like I can do it all for $12 because little, minor A games are like $12 a piece. So like, it's not even, baseball is a big hobby, right? With 100 years of history behind it. So it's going to take you to really just sit down and try to think outside the box about something you could really get into. And nobody's going to be able to do it for you. It's something that you're going to have to figure out yourself.
I might say my hobby is consuming media. Like I love going to Screen Unseen just for the surprise of the film. We went last night, saw Slingshot. It's an okay film. It's very much lit like my studio right now, pure white and weird and off colors, but whatever. Yeah, I know. Don't worry about it. It's an okay movie, but I love the adventure of the story, and I will watch some crappy TV shows and movies just to see where it's going to go. And the next tier down is I'll side screen a whole bunch of media that I would never just sit and watch, either playing my Xbox or working on things or whatever. Sometimes you already have a hobby that you don't maybe realize that you have.
Hear me out, Joe. All right, stay with me. This one's going to go. You're going to say no right away, but hear me out. Start brewing. Become a beer maker. Because
that I can market it, the only Mormon beer maker.
Well, I know there's you don't drink, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So you could be a beer maker.
It's just about the process.
And give it, it's about the repetition in the process. And then you just give it to your friends who do drink beer every Dragon Con.
Every Dragon Con.
Just like you said, you're only 2 hours away. So like you drive down, you don't even have to ship it. And just become a brewer, man.
I've never tried this. I'm sorry if you go blind. Here you go.
Beer is adjacent to, that's what Gemini is for, to try things. Beer is adjacent to moonshine. And you got two guys right here that will test your beer and your moonshine for you. We're not scared. My wife
put a lot of terrible things in my body, Joe.
Have y'all had?
Your beer's not going to do any damage.
I'll do my best to make it as close to Malort as I can, just for you, Charles.
Oh, come on, Joe. Why you gotta be saying?
Another hobby that Dennis has is he makes soda. He makes his own soda. Just using a jet. What do they call it? A jet stream.
Jet streams. Yeah.
He'll make his own syrup and then bring in different ingredients and kind of fine tune his recipe. And so he makes his own soda dough. So.
Yeah, he doesn't have a life though. So on that, we've got some Dragon Con to get ready for, boys. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. So save it for the after show. But it's been a great ride, everybody. Random Kid got an extra long episode tonight for him. And it's awesome. We call him Big Rando now. Stop. I'm not ready, Mike. Shut it. So love you all. We'll be back live at Dragon Con in a few days and next week, Thursday night.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock God of Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website, wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
And Imaginary Nomad! Good news, boys. I don't have COVID. I took it during the show because my throat is very scratchy.
Grandpappy said he was ashamed of me.
Yeah.